Hey you guys, it's me Gemstone at tarotfreehealing.com. I hope you're doing really well. Now this video is not a reading, even though I'm shuffling cards. Now the only reason why I'm shuffling the Paulina Tarot is because I love this deck. I love shuffling this deck. The card quality is just so good. Like it's just such a firm and sturdy card. I love the quality of this deck. So I love to shuffle it. So what it is that this video is about is because you guys know, well, I did say in that video I made when I was going through that really tough time, that I was doing mindfulness classes, and the mindfulness classes that I was doing came to an end this Tuesday. I was given eight sessions because I was doing it through, I was referred to that class by the psychotherapist that I had been seeing, and that's all done through the NHS in the UK. And you know, the NHS is the free, healthcare is free at the point of delivery. So basically those classes were really helpful for me and so insightful, and the teacher we had, who is also a psychotherapist, was so he just gave us so many tips and tools for us to walk away with, and gave us these meditations that we can do. The meditations proved to be very helpful. One meditation that he did with us that he didn't record for us, but we did it in one of the sessions, was a mountain meditation. And when I tell you, anytime I feel not quite right, like that meditation gets me feeling exactly where I need to be, like so grounded. So I'll definitely encourage you guys. They have two, I believe, on YouTube, mountain meditations. Do them. And I think you should especially do them at times when you're fearful and times when you feel insecure about yourself, because there's something about that meditation that when you finish, it just makes you feel so strong and so firm in who you are. Like there's something about it. It's like you walk away just feeling more self-assured and powerful, like after that meditation. It's like you feel like a mountain, you feel strong, and I think that's another thing about when you feel kind of down and stuff, is that you can feel weak. And I think that meditation kind of brings back your strength, and it's just really helpful. So do look those up on YouTube. And another thing is that I did mention in the weekly reading that I've been getting all these downloads, all these spiritual downloads. And I always feel like, and said this to one of the signs in their weekly reading. I can't remember which sign it was now, going through them videos, but I mentioned about when it comes to downloads, like usually they can come as messages, and when a message is repeated to you a lot, I think I said this is Scorpio, when a message is repeated to you a lot, especially through different avenues, like you pick up one of them, spiritual or self-help books, and it gives you a message, then like I went to my psychotherapy, my mindfulness class, and then the same message is given again, and then you speak to a friend on the phone and the same message comes up again. And that is what was happening to me last week, actually the last week and the beginning of this week. And the message was of acceptance. And the thing that was so crazy about it is, not only did I get the message from my mindfulness teacher in the one of the spiritual books I've been reading, and also from a colleague at my job, which was so random. Like, me and this colleague, we don't ever speak about anything to do with self-help or whatever, and then all of a sudden he just came to me talking about this great book that he read, and was just telling me all these things, and all the things he was telling me was things that, like, just repeated messages, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like the universe is definitely trying to tell me something. And I was having a conversation too with a friend of mine, and we have known each other for a very long time. And she means so much to me. She's an Aries. Aries, I'm a Libra. We work. It's okay. And so we've been friends for so long, and she's devoted, like, Catholic. Like, she's not into all this new age or this other stuff. And yeah, I was talking to her on the phone, and we were talking about, basically, my birthday's in a few months, and I'm going through my Saturn return, which it makes sense that I was a depressed and emotional wreck, because if you've been through your Saturn return, it's pretty difficult to deal with. So if you've been through your Saturn return, like, let me know, like, what you experience. And basically, if you don't know, you have been through your Saturn return, or your first Saturn return, if you're older than, like, 29 years old, like, you've been through it already, your first one. And then, like, I think your second one is when you're 60. And so, I'm 29, and I'm going to be 30 in a few months. Like, and I can't even believe it. Like, oh my God. And so we're having this conversation, and she was, like, telling me how, we should be proud of ourselves because we've achieved a lot of things for ourselves. We're in a good place in our lives. And she was just saying, that it's about accepting where you are. And when she said that, like, it just clicked, because that's when I remembered all the other people saying it. And I was like, it's true. It truly is about acceptance. And then, funnily enough, Carrie Ann Maddox, she's here on YouTube. She is who used to be the Four Queens. I don't know if she's still kind of, I think she's changed that name on her YouTube. But she made a video talking about acceptance the same morning, no, the morning after I had that conversation with my friend. And I was like, oh my gosh, synchronicity. But and it's such a powerful lesson. It's such a powerful lesson. It sounds simple, but it's a very hard thing to do. And I think it's one of them things that if you can do it, it can transform your life in such a huge way, because really that is what depression is about. It's about that lack of acceptance. It's about when you can't deal with what is happening around you, when you are resisting the things that are happening and not accepting them, not dealing with them. And I am proud of myself, to be honest. I'm proud of myself that I was able to get the help that I needed, and to be able to go through that experience as well, because what I gained from it is that Spirit was telling me that you need to learn and you need to grow. Like, you need to take your spiritual journey to the next level. Like, I think before then, it's almost like my spiritual journey was at one level and I was okay there because I was comfortable there. But it's almost like the universe was like, no, like, you have to you have to learn, you have to grow. And so in that process of going through that time and going through that really dark period, um, when I was able to come out of it and to be open enough to say, I want to deal with things. I don't want to go, just act like everything is positive and everything is okay, but I'm not really dealing with things. And sometimes you have to be honest with yourself. Like, you have to be honest, and you have to say, do you know what? The reason why I'm feeling this way is because something is wrong. Like, I'm doing something wrong here. Now, I think that to a certain extent, like, because of certain things that happened around that time, it was normal for me to go through a process of grief, because that was also a part of what I was feeling. But then at the same time, that was another thing that I had to come to accept. And if I didn't come to accept what I had lost, then I would have never, like, I would have never been able to come back here and make readings. And I would have never felt like myself again, and even better. Like, that's how I feel now. I feel like I'm not only back to myself, but I'm a better version of myself. because of what I went through, and because of the lesson of acceptance that I'm choosing to embrace. And that's what I'm saying, like, acceptance is not easy, because you have to really allow yourself to be humble. That's another thing. You have to humble yourself. I mean, so many times we're not, we feel like, you know, why should certain things happen like this, like, and we deny things, we deny experiences, we deny that we feel certain things. And it's like, no, you have to accept everything. You have to accept the good with the bad, the rough with the smooth. You have to be open to it all. And the great thing that I found, um, with the mindfulness, is that that's what it helps you to do. It helps you to say, okay, this is where I'm at now, and I need to feel comfortable with where I'm at now, even if it feels uncomfortable. Like, our teacher made us all laugh in the class, because he was saying, you know, that success is an illusion. And that is so true. He was like, you know, everything in this life that we experience, all these social constructs that we have, that we, you know, have created in our society, is an illusion. It's a lie. And we buy into the lie, we buy into the deception. And with us buying into this, the deception, you know, especially the more that you are more focused on this kind of social, this kind of material world, and you're not really about the spiritual, you will tend to find that you open up yourself to suffering. Because every time something changes, every time, and things always change in this material world. One minute something's there, one minute it's gone. One minute something is in fashion, one minute is out of fashion. There's all different trends. It's like, if you buy into all those things, then you're gonna find that you're never gonna really feel like a success, or you're never gonna really feel content with your life, because you're always gonna be chasing something else, to trying to keep up with the Joneses, or to try to, you know, fit in, or to look a certain way, or present yourself a certain way, or buying into your own ego, feeding your ego. And your ego is just, you know, is shallow as anything. Your ego is the one that is, you know, not gonna make you feel humble, is gonna make you be, you know, boastful, or make you be self-centered, and all that kind of stuff. And then you start to find that you're completely disconnected with that spiritual side of self. And the more disconnected you become, the harder it is for you to cope in day-to-day life and be happy with day-to-day life. Because that's another social construct, is really, especially like the way media, advertising, and everything is made to make you feel insecure about your life, about yourself, never to feel good enough. And so it's like, if we don't see those things as illusions, and we don't see the world around us as really one big dream almost, then we buy into all these different things like their reality. And so, you know, but what is really great is when he said that there's no such thing as failure, and everything in this world, regardless of what it is, what you've done, where you're at, you're a success. You're a success because you're here. You're a success because you're breathing, because you're living, because you was able to wake up this morning, you know, have something to drink, have something to eat. You're a success. You get what I'm saying? You know, but to us, it's like, you know, we're taught that success has to be, you know, a big fancy car, a big job with a big title, all that kind of stuff. And you know, because we're chasing that kind of, you know, either American dream or fantasy, where we become, you know, consumed in that, consumed in what is essentially an illusion. And then we're caught up in the rat race, and who can win, you know, who does win as in the end. Usually there's more losers than there are winners, to be honest, because you can work your whole life be trying to be a success, trying to work towards something, and really still in the meantime not amount to anything, because your health can fail, because you're stressed out, you're overworked. You know, look how many people are very successful but die at very young ages, because they weren't taking care of themselves on a physical level, a spiritual level, or a psychological level. So, you know, that's another thing to consider. And that's another thing we were discussing in the last mindfulness class, and basically chasing a paycheck. That's what a lot of us do, and again, it's all a system that has been created to remove us so far away from what is natural to us. And that's why I was even saying in another reading too, that we have to remind ourselves that we are a part of nature. We're just like a tree. We're just like an animal, like a squirrel. Like we're just like the grass growing, the sun in the sky, the cosmos. We're a part of all of those things. All of those things are in us, and we're all one in that way. We're all one as human beings. And I think, all of, like, there's so many ways that we get distracted, or we're told something different to believe. And again, we're so far removed from everything that we can't even connect with one another. And I think that's another thing that makes all these horrible atrocities happen, because of people feeling completely disconnected from each other, filling themselves up with hate. Look at the situation that took place recently, in Orlando and all that kind of stuff. There's so many, so many atrocities going on in the world, and people just doing crazy things. And, again, it buys into that same thing. These people, they're in a different kind of state of mind, because again, buying into illusions and fantasies, buying into things that are, negative, and not accepting certain things. Like, it seems with that guy, the Orlando shooter, that, he didn't accept his sexuality, for instance. He, was just clearly suppressing something in himself. And that's what brought up this anger. And then, completely lashed out on a whole group of people, a whole group of innocent people, had nothing to do with his situation. But he had chaos in his mind, and he created chaos in the outside world. And that's what happens. Chaos has to exist in ourselves first before it can manifest on the outside. And when we don't get our minds right, that's when we act out in crazy, malicious ways. And that's an extreme version. Sometimes, we're living that existence all the time, because our craziness always acts out in some way, shape, or form, whether it's our relationships, whether it's, between husband and wife, whether it's, your family, whether it's people you work with, whoever you come in contact with. You can usually see a person's flaws by the way they interact with other people. But the thing is that, there's nothing wrong with having flaws. There's nothing wrong with even having a bit of an issue, mentally. But the thing is that I think that if you're to the point where you can go out and get the help, or you can go out and work on yourself, you can go out and develop yourself on a spiritual level. Like I said, that's why I love the tarot, because tarot is a very great tool. It's a very great psychological tool as well as a spiritual tool. Tarot will tell you the truth when somebody else won't, and that's another thing about sometimes going into therapy. Like, some people feel like, oh, I can't see a therapist. Like, they don't want to accept that they have a problem. To see a therapist, there's no shame in it. That's the best thing I did for myself. The best thing I did for myself was also to come and make that video and tell you guys about what I was going through. Because again, you guys fed me with that love, and you fed me with that light energy and all that other stuff, and that's what also helped me to get through. So to me, there's nothing wrong with telling people, you know what, I need help right now. I need to sort out my situation. Because, Lord knows, if I didn't do all of those things and continued on, how deep it could have gone, or how bad it could have gone. So, everyone is a work in progress. And another thing which I ended up completely not saying is the thing that we were laughing at, that the our mindfulness teacher said, was that when he said that everyone is a success, he was like, even if you're drunk on the street and you're falling down successfully. And everyone burst out laughing. And it's true. It's like, okay, yeah, you might be in the lowest part of your life. People will be looking at you like, look at this drunkard out on the street falling down and slobbering. But do you know what the thing is that person that is doing that, that's the way their life had to be. That's the experience that they had to go through. Who knows what tomorrow will hold for that same individual because of what they're going through right now. Who's to say that a person that, one day is drinking, can't stop tomorrow? There's so many people that have gone through addictions or had all kinds of vices and issues that have been able to get through them. Sadly, some have, haven't, and their life have been cut short because of it. But all of that is a part of their destiny. And if you want to go into on a spiritual level, you could say it's a part of their karma or their dharma or whatever you want to say, is a part of, for them to be able to grow and evolve. Like, that's what their soul had to experience at that time. And it's not for any one of us to judge that person or judge their situation. That's just their life experience, and that's what had to happen. And that can be a difficult thing to accept, especially if a person that is going through that is very close to you, because no one wants a person to, that they love, to be hurting themselves in any kind of way. But then at the same time, we have to be accepting and say, okay, this is what this person is working through, and they will have to get better in their own time. The only thing I can do is sort of stand by, be a support system, or be an ear for them to listen to, or a shoulder for them to cry on. But all in all, that's their experience, and that's what they have to go through. And the same way they have their cross to bear is the same way I have mine to bear, you have yours to bear. Everyone has something going through, but through it all, if we can come to a place of acceptance, if we can come to a place of love, unconditional love, kindness. That's another thing we discussed a lot in the mindfulness class, about being kind to others and being kind to ourselves, being compassionate towards ourselves. And that kind of way of thinking goes a very long way, a very long way. So through it all, I've been meditating a lot more. I've been feeling a lot less anxious and a lot more calm. And I would definitely say I've been feeling so positive, so much more positive. And the interesting thing also that we did in the class was we were writing down, like our teacher told us, to write down things that nurture us and things that deplete us. And we had to write down basically everything we do during the day and during the week, anything from washing the clothes to picking up your kids from school to going to church, if you go to church, like whatever activity you do throughout the week. And I think whoever is watching this video, you guys should try doing this as well, because it helped me so much, and it will really enlighten you to your own life and the way your life is going. And it will really help you take stock of things. And so what we did is we created this list, writing down every single thing that we do throughout the week and stuff. And next to it, we wrote whether it nurtures us or whether it depletes us. And funnily enough, even though I had gone through that experience, felt down and everything, and was coming out of it and was feeling better within myself, I did the exercise. And then when I looked at the at my paper, and the teacher asked me, what did you write on yours? How do what insights do you get from yours? I said to him, do you know what? I have so many things in my life that I do that actually nurtures me. I have so many things in my life that I do that I actually enjoy doing. I wrote down a lot of things. I think maybe I wrote down about 20 things that nurture me and about 3 things that deplete me, honestly. And that was the honest truth about how I felt about those things, doing day-to-day chores like cooking, cleaning. I don't know what it is, but I actually do enjoy cooking and cleaning, which some people they can't stand, but I actually love doing those things. And there was loads of day-to-day things that I enjoy. And to be honest, I said to the teacher that I'm so surprised myself, because I didn't even realize that there were so many things in my life that I enjoyed before I actually wrote this list. And then that's when I came to the realization that the reason why there were times where I felt down, or days that I felt down, is only because I was focusing mentally on the things that deplete me, even when I was doing activities that I enjoyed. So even when I was having a good time cooking or whatever, I was thinking about something that happened at work that upset me. So that's when I started to realize I need to think and be in the present moment. And I need to, when I'm doing something that I enjoy, I need to be present so that I can get the full enjoyment of that activity, so that I'm not spending all my mental effort, all my mental energy on the negative things, you know, complaining about those things, letting them, fester. I'm not going to focus on those things. I'm going to focus on the things that my life is full of, which is a whole bunch of activities that I actually love to do. And so that's when it really helped me to open up my eyes. And so do that, try that, and just see what you come back with and what insights that it gives you afterwards, because I think it can be very helpful. And also what you can find is, if you do the list and you find that there's a lot of things that you do that do deplete you, how can you change those? How can you change those to things that make you feel good? How can you do less of stuff that you hate and do more of the things that you love to make you live a happier existence? Because for me, that's what's the most important. For me, there was a time in my life where I was really focused on wanting to, be a certain kind of person, earn a certain amount of money, you'd wanting to be uh, a person that other people would maybe look up to, and things like that. And that's the honest truth. That's where I felt I wanted to be at a certain point in my life. And now, to be honest, and I think my Saturn return has taught me this. Well, to be honest, I discovered this a few years ago, but I think my Saturn return just reinforced the message to me that I don't care about those things. I don't care about status and, being a certain kind of way so that people can look up to me or think, oh, look, she earns that kind of money. Look at her. Like, I don't care for that kind of thing. It's, to me, I just want to be happy, honesty. And funnily enough, that reminded me of when I was a teenager, and I think I was about 14 or 15 years old. And people used to ask, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? And I would tell them things that I wanted to be, and I would always change my mind because I could never make up my mind about what I wanted to be. But I always would come back to that I just want to be happy, you know? And that's sort of, come back to me now. That's the most important thing, is the enjoyment that I get out of my day-to-day life, the enjoyment that I get out of being with my family, being with my friends, making videos for you guys, interacting with you guys, doing readings, being a holistic therapist, doing massage therapy. It's the things that I do day to day that I love and enjoy, that I want to spend more time doing. And I want to be in the present while doing it so that I can really enjoy that. And that's what it says. They say the past is already gone and the future is a mystery. So all we have is the present moment. So peace and many blessings to you guys. I'll be seeing you. Bye.